live. Welcome to the channel. Let's get the chat started. We're just going to open it up. People are being notified that we are live. Still getting over my cold, but lots to talk about tonight. I was not feeling good, so actually went to work and came right back home. So it was really nice. We haven't started with the kids yet. And I slept all day and then worked. I told you guys I had to finish the schedule. So we'll see how long I can stay on tonight. But good to have everybody here. I'm trying to do nightly lives. Thank you for that love. Helps keep me motivated. And like I said, feel free to ask anything. We're opening the chat up. I was watching the demonic possession of that one cop, what is Sonia Macy? Is that how you say it? But just it was really interesting, and I think there's a spiritual aspect to things out there. Also, last night I was kind of scrolling through Facebook, and there was somebody who showed this little video of this like chandelier kind of lamp, and it was being affected, just kind of little things being turned. And I had asked, is there any vent going on? And they're like, no, there was no wind anywhere, no open windows. And I'd like to kind of talk about the paranormal and the spiritual aspect of relationships and even our own inner demons, things we struggle with. The narcissists that we talk about, they talk about those demonic looking eyes during the rage, the black eyes, what happens with them. There is some kind of scientific, I do have videos on the scientific aspect of it, but look at you guys. Oh, we got Thomas and Marco and Mike and wait, was it applause or applesauce? We got Mike and good having everybody. We got so many people joining in so quickly. I can't say everybody's name, but good to have you guys here. Hopefully everybody had a good day, and thank you for the follow. I am trying to get to 10,000 followers, so that helps. Also helps with the algorithm, keeps everything going. And just so you guys know, I do have 3 platforms open right now. I have Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. Let me know if you guys go on Instagram. I don't really mess with Instagram. I made the big mistake of having where I had to approve everything. I didn't realize that. Thank you for the other follow. I appreciate each and every one of you, because I do want to grow the channel. We got people joining in, people from all over the world. Also, I deal with English as a second language and the cultural aspects of things, and con artists and catfishing and dating, all these kind of things, and even just being our best self. I talked yesterday about the personality tests that we did at work and how being your authentic self sometimes can be difficult because people perceive things from their perception. And they broke it down into 4 different basic categories. And it was interesting to see how, somebody has your similar personality, they're going to understand that the way that you're thinking. But if they're a different person, they might see you as being, bossy. That's why a lot of times, even just the masculine and feminine energy and the equality and all these kind of things that go on start to make relationships complicated. And I know a lot of times they talk about empathy, but it needs to be a two-way empathy. Two-way empathy is so important on an actual relationship. And how do we get to live our authentic self and also understand other people? We got lots of people joining in. We got is it Sparky, or Sparkle? It's so little. We got Mark and Radon and Pete. And Run, Satan AI is real. I do want to talk about the AI. Even one of my viewers was like, dude, I'm falling in love with my AI girlfriend. And, I don't know what to believe anymore. There was this one beautiful rainbow picture. It was a tornado supposedly wrapped around it. My mind can't process how this picture is real. Also, they've had like some beautiful animal videos. We don't know what's real anymore. And I was watching some more documentaries on like how realistic some of these AI can be. So Run, tell me what you mean by that. But AI is built on a collective of humans, and humans are kind of evil sometimes. And so that's what scares me, is it's going to interpret things based on like majority. So even let's say abortion, maybe it has something to do with abortion. Now it's going to go whichever way. I'm not going to judge on that, but it's going to kind of conform things based on the collective. And Run says blame is horrible, and continues manipulate what you want to hate certain people. The manipulation that's going to happen. Amy, happy birthday. Amy's birthday was just on the 13th. And it says to encourage you guys to share the live. But AI is scary because we're not going to know what to believe. And, with all these ways that they can capture your voice, it's scary to even answer the phone. Like I got people calling me. I just bought this house. And so you get all those mortgage people, insurance people, but I'm scared to even say anything. If they ask, is this Cynthia, to even say the word yes, but they can even pull that off right now. I just said the word yes, and they can pull it and they can manipulate things. And I know back in the day they had, what was it called? Was it spamming? I don't know. It was when long distance. We used to have to pay for long distance telephones, and we got more people joining us. Is it Chaco or Choco? Good to have you. But I got scammed. They heard me say yes, and so they switched my phone service. My phone bill was like $960, and they're like, "Well, you said yes to whatever." And now that we're even more sophisticated. When you try to do research, even now, when I try to do research, whether it's for school or for YouTube to bring you guys the truth, or I hear somebody talking about something and I want to research it more, it's almost impossible to get to the truth. You have to whittle through so much. And even just, looking at people's comments on things, the different perspectives, a lot of people taking things. Do blondes have more fun? This one does. Thank you for that question, Mike. I kind of wonder, brunettes get married sooner. I don't know. Yeah, and also too, hi Mandy. Good to have Mandy joining us. But as far as like redheads, I did a video on that because, they say how like fiery or feisty redheads, and there are some differences. They need more anesthesia, but I wanted to get more into, that nature versus nurture stuff. And I know as adults, I think redheads have sometimes, not always, but sometimes a uniqueness about them. People are like, oh my gosh, I love your hair, things like that. But growing up, kids can be quite mean. And, the redheads, I know they are a little bit more feisty, and they'll say it too. And is that like a trauma response just by their hair color? Also, you can look at different ethnicities, is some of their, and this is generalized speaking, everybody's different and individual, and everybody's circumstances are different. But, the inner child has a lot to do with our lives. So Run says, my ex planned against you. Most don't care if you lose someone. I do. Yeah. Good point though. What does A say? Redheads are wild. I think it has something to do with the upbringing and how they're treated. There's also that pretty privilege and, the golden child, all those kind of things. It makes a difference. Birth order. And Randy is here, and Troy. So how do they plan people against you? Because that happens a lot. If you're with a narcissistic person, and Randy says, hi, gorgeous. Thank you for the compliment. I appreciate that. And look at the likes and the love. But with a narcissist, supposedly they love you, and all of a sudden they're like destroying your life, even after things are said and done, or they can stalk you. They can be quite dangerous. And also, how they affect people, where this narcissism can be contagious because of that reactive abuse, people wanting to seek revenge, having anger in their hearts. And there's some spiritual aspect to all of this. So I was watching that with the cop and how he just like split. It was interesting how Sonia Macy had said, like I rebuke you in the name of Jesus or something like that. And instantly he was talking about effing shooting her in the head and effing this. And so it escalated quickly. Where did that anger come from? And, is there some true demonic thing? Mimi is here. Hey, good to have you back. Excellent. I love seeing you guys come back and check in on the channel. Run says I found out there narcissistic people in between that have nothing to do with you or yourself. They react off of your feelings. Yeah, that's the fuel. And that's an excellent point, is narcissism feeds on our reaction. So if you are in the toxic part, when you react, they need that energy. It's a dopamine hit. So sometimes you can get dopamine hits off of healthy things and also off of negative things. And they just want that dopamine hit. And, they're also in a different state of mind. I was thinking about this all day long, as far as it was one video I was watching where it was Nicholas Flannery, where he was dressed up like the mom, and she's like, oh, so I'm the worst mom in the world, and this and that, and well, fine, if I suck that bad, then I'm not going to take you to Stacy's house, and like the reactive stuff. And it can be a thankless job sometimes, to where parents go through a lot, and children are more in the narcissistic stage, where they're more needy and self-centered, and it gets draining a lot of times during the teenage years, where their teenagers are branching out into their own individuality. If you're with a narcissist, a lot of times they're in a stunted growth state. Mimi's asking how I am doing. It was a rough day today. I ended up taking the day off. I went to school and I'm like, I'm miserable. I have to go home. So I slept all day. But my tutor came over, helping me getting everything ready for the school session coming up. And that was stressful, but she brought me over dinner. So had a little something healthy to eat, nice little sandwich, and feeling a little bit better. Right now I'm doing okay, but I'm exhausted. Still getting over that cold. Run says, like, in between men or women to use it to hurt you and to blame you. I found out there are narcissistic people in between that have nothing to do with you or yourself. A lot of times the negative reactions, thank you, Mimi, I'll be okay, I hope. I do have something with my chest right here, like on my chest x-ray, like kind of like pleurisy type stuff. So that's probably part of why I'm in pain and tired, but I'll survive. Just need extra rest. But hurt people. And when you are in the healing stage, you're a hurt person. And, are we hurting ourselves? And that's one thing I want us to kind of talk about is, we got to be our own best friend. And maybe the parent that we didn't have, or the parent that we needed. Mimi says, my day today was bad again. What was wrong with your day today? Were you anxious today? What happened? You're supposed to be having the time of your life. I know you had a little bit of anxiety going on. Tell me why it was bad. I don't want you to have a bad day. Let's try to figure this out so you can have a better day. Do you have to go to school tomorrow? I don't. I got tomorrow off, and I'm so glad. That's why I'm able to be up late. Run says, oh, it's not just that. I've seen people hurt me, and now they're suffering. Yeah, sometimes we just got to let that karma play out. And sometimes it's nothing that we see. We don't always see the karma playing out, or maybe it's in the afterlife. But to get revenge is, and not claiming it. Yeah, they don't like to admit their faults. And we got Sachin. Sachin, good to have you here. And Mimi says, yes, I do, but I don't know. You just felt like a hard day. Aww. Like, I don't want to be here anymore. And you're talking like for eternity. Is that what you're saying? I don't think you just mean like school. I know sometimes depression or anxiety, it can overtake our lives. And, if you need to call 911, 988 is the suicide hotline, 988. But take that seriously. Your body's telling you you're hurting, and it is difficult to deal with some things in life, and also our brain chemistry. If we've been through some traumatic experiences, it can change our brain chemistry to where we have brain fog, not thinking clearly, being impulsive. Hopefully you're not engaging in like little stuff you shouldn't, or um, other types of extracurriculars. So Mimi, you are one of my friends and I want you here. And I know sometimes the pain gets overwhelming. Have you talked to anybody about that? We have to realize what the triggers are, and we have to take control. I'm glad you don't drink. Good, good. That helps because, and I'm not judging on if people drink, but it changes your brain chemistry, and it can lead to depression, anxiety, and it might feel good in the moment, but you're actually like self-sabotaging. So we want to get out of that, especially when we're having a hard time. If you are on any medications, make sure what the side effects are. There are some side effects that cause those kind of feelings. So we have to be cautious on that and try to troubleshoot. Is it something internal? Is it some medical thing? And I'm glad you start counseling next week. So I want you to join me every night until that happens. Kind of give you some like purpose and something to look forward to. And, we have to realize there are ups and downs, and people who have felt the same that you have felt and think about doing certain harmful things, that they look back and they're like, I'm really glad I didn't do it. So yeah, my heart goes out to you. I know sometimes it feels like giving up is easier or the only way out. There are ways out. It does get better, and we have to like kind of give our body some grace to rewire what is going on. Sometimes, let's be honest, some of us may have mental illness that we need to address. Sometimes it could be something that could be temporary, whether it's a depression or anxiety. There are times that kind of stuff can be like permanent, but there's ways to handle it. So my heart and my love goes out to you. So I feel like if I do it, I'm going to regret it. And you know why you feel that is because your heart's telling you this is not what you're supposed to be thinking. Try not to entertain that thought. They have that old Chinese proverb, which I love to talk about, is it's, be mindful of your thoughts become your words become your actions, and your actions become your destiny. So we got to be careful once those words come out. Once we entertain those thoughts to where we're kind of putting them in motion, that we got to put a stop to that. It is good to talk to somebody about it, but you would regret it. You would regret it. And there's so much, like I've had miscarriages, and, you get really down. And, but there's still so much living to do. And my mommy is here. I love you, mommy. I know my mom's been going through a lot of stuff, one thing after another, with trying to sell her house. Hopefully things get better with that. Sachin is asking where I am from. I am from Michigan, and I am 54 years old. I am 54. I just had a birthday last month. And so Ron says, but I saw that this happiness every time I was around this person. You don't like revenge. This kept happiness. Are you saying it kept happiness from you? We got lots of people joining. So, there's times that we have certain little triggers in us, or we take things personally. And that's one thing that really we need to take power over. That usually when somebody is being negative towards us, it's not us. It's some little thing within them that is causing the reaction. So if somebody's yelling at you, I love you too, mommy. I got the best mom in the world. I love you, mom. So it'll be okay. And this is the thing, the positive thinking that we have, take away that word. I want you to retype that. I want you to claim it. I want you to say, I'll be okay. Let's take away that hopefully, and let's believe it. The more we believe in things, the more it's kind of like manifesting, or having faith. Faith can get you through a lot of things. So I want you to retype that and say, I'll be okay. We have to understand our positivity can change things. And Debbie is here, and my number one gifter, Phantom. Hello, good evening. I love that, Mimi. Thank you. Yes, I will be okay. You are taking charge. You are putting it concretely out there that, yeah, I'll be okay. You got people like me who want to be there for you, who will help you through. Phantom says, how are you this beautiful evening? I am beautiful. Doing good. I was just saying that I was not feeling good today. I had to take the day off and just sleep. But my tutor came over. We were working on the schedule. She brought me dinner, and that actually helped. After I checked in with the school and told them how miserable I ended up stopping to get some food. I normally don't get takeout, but I was like, I got to figure what is making me so miserable. So the food earlier today didn't help, but whatever she brought me. Thank you, Phantom. Phantom's giving me compliments. So Run says, it's personal, some programming mentally. What do you do when your ex takes you to meet all these people and then they attempt to make they make attempts at your life? Sounds like Satan. And that's the thing, like I talk about the spiritual thing. And Mimi says, you have Rapunzel hair, LOL. On my refrigerator, I got the Rapunzel award. I got the Rapunzel award from school. They said that I was the teacher that would let down their hair. So I had the Rapunzel award. I'm going to try to let it grow. Maybe do a little Rapunzel little video. I'm 6'1", so technically my hair is probably down to my knees, but it's only down to my waist because I'm so tall. But Ron says, and other people around, they control many. Yeah, you got your flying monkeys, the new supply, and so as far as the demonic stuff, like if you think about, whether you're getting into like religion itself, but there's a good setup with religion. So whatever religion you are, usually it's, the good versus ego, whether it's, you got your id, super ego, and I am tall, 6'1". You are correct, Mimi, 6'1". But we can talk about like the things that we struggle with, whether it's, smoking or alcohol, that those are our personal demons. And I'm a Christian too, Mimi. And I think faith, sometimes some of the lessons that we go through are lessons that we need to learn. They're struggles. They don't seem fair, but it's bringing us into like this new vibration, this new energy, this new level to get to be the people. Debbie says, I'm on YouTube now. Seems better. I got to figure out what is up with Facebook. It's got to be my phone. It has got to be that phone. Because I use my computer for YouTube, my new phone for TikTok. Maybe next time I'll try it. Debbie, we'll do that tomorrow. Well, I'll set up my 2 computers to see if that's what it is. Because I'm not having luck on Facebook. People, it seems kind of crappy. I got to figure out how to fix that. And Ron says, yep, only 2 in here. You guys are in there. No, it says 3. It says 3. The more you guys like and comment, the more people will come in. So keep commenting, keep chit-chatting with each other and helping to grow the channel. Like I said, I took a break from YouTube lives and we had a great group. We had like 100 and some people joining in at times. And then I went through like some technical difficulties where my internet was really difficult because of where I'm at. And had to upgrade my internet, and then I switched services. So people probably got frustrated. So the connection is bad. Please let me know about the connection so I can troubleshoot it. I can only see things from my perspective, and that's why it helps when you guys let me know. So yeah, just now. Oh, there's 2 just now. Oh, Phantom. I got a Phantom #1 gifter again. Thank you. Just sent a gift. I appreciate that. Southern Boy is here. Debbie says video is breaking up on oh, so is it you keep refreshing on YouTube also? Is that what you're saying? You keep refreshing? But thank you so much for the gift. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm gonna try to get better equipment. I don't know what's going on. Some of my equipment's a little bit old. I showed you guys my computer, how that's all busted up. Yeah, there's so much to learn when you do being a digital creator. Courtney, good to have you here. Courtney, I hope you feel a little bit better. I will bring you some soup if you're still feeling sick. Let me know how the connection is. Phantom says you do an awesome job with everyone. Thank you so much. I am here for you guys, and I do definitely try to be there for you guys. I know sometimes we feel so alone. We've been isolated or just discarded at the drop of a hat. And Run says sometimes buffers that it shows I'm stationary, so it's okay. Okay. Debbie says I reset my phone before I came on. I was having trouble talking from my car. It was breaking up only on Facebook. My goodness. We'll have to figure this out. We will have to figure this out. It seems this is what is interesting is I don't seem to really have a problem with TikTok, and I don't know if that's because I have a new phone. I will spend the money to get better equipment. I just don't know what to get. So as soon as I kind of figure that out and what needs it. So if it's like a glitch or something to fix, I'd rather just fix it. But and I appreciate those gifts. You guys are awesome. My #1 gifter. But so getting back with Mimi and, some of the relationships, when do we give up on relationships? And if you talk about like the spiritual aspect, if there are demons are trying to destroy relationships or destroy people. So we have to realize that we are up for a fight. And when we start having these negative thoughts, that's the enemy trying to attack us. And, if you're a spiritual person, that's when, like God's trying to have you increase your faith and to focus on him and to trust in him. And it can be a positive thing where you're feeling the love and feeling the trust. And it's hard. A lot of us want to control our own lives. There's things we can do to, help guide our lives, but there's things that are outside of our control. Phantom says, so I'm not being hidden. My TikTok is Phantom of Poetry, but your name is Rob. Just wanted to introduce yourself, and I am Cynthia Schiller. Rob, thank you so much. Phantom of Poetry. I know you said, I think it was yesterday that you like poetry. What kind of poetry do you like? Do you like love, or do you like nature? What kind of poetry? Mimi says, do you have a close relationship with God? Yes, but there are things that I get angry about. I think he's testing my teaching me patience, which is taking me longer than I want with certain things, giving people grace. And he's got a plan, but it's outside my time limit, but there's, self-reflection that we do in things. And, when they talk about like the narcissist, if you've ever been with a narcissist, that sometimes you idolize a person to where they're the ones that you are focusing on, and it's destroying other relationships and it's destroying your time with God. So there's a purpose in it. I do have a close relationship, but there's also struggles, faith is when I stick to the faith, it does come through. So I want you to know that. So, if you can keep your strength to say you have that faith and to believe it, not just say it, but believe it as much as you can. And the more you like try to believe it and take a step closer to this true 100% faith, that you will get through it. I'm on a 5-year plan with God. It's kind of funny. We have these little things. I get what I want, but it's 5 years after. It's kind of funny. So it's interesting. But as far as things recently, I've really had to rely on my faith, and it has come through every time I've relied on the faith. So Mimi says, LOL, yep, we gotta be patient. And I still remember my grandma, I was like 8 years old, and she had this little sign in her window, a little statue. I still remember it was pretty much white. I can't remember everything it was, but it's like, it almost looked like a tombstone. But I remember the inscription is like, God, please, what is it? Please be patient with me. God isn't finished yet. And so we started having this talk about patience. And she's like, don't ever pray for patience. And I'm like, what? And she's like, don't ever pray for patience, because then God's going to give you opportunities where he's going to like test your patience so you can grow and develop this patience. I remember I am like, I am never praying for patience. Like, oh, I never did. And yeah, he still tests my patience. So yeah. And that's part of giving people grace. And there are times I should have been more patient. I should have. Not everybody thinks the way I do, very quick. And some people need time to process things. And so I give people three times what my normal patience would be. Is it Carl? I got to wait for it to go up. You ever used a bandana as a belt before? I used a bandana. I had the best macrame belt growing up before. I don't really wear that many belts. I liked it when they had the like Britney Spears pants, a little bit lower riding. I hate these high-waisted pants. Hate them with a passion. So like the low-waisted, I'd like those with better belts a little bit more. I hate high-waisted pants, and nobody makes the low-waisted, especially in tall, because it's really hard for me to find pants. So going through a depression, I want low-waisted pants so bad. Bring that back. I also like straight legs. So you like my willow trees? Oh, thank you. I know my sister wanted to give me a willow tree. My grandparents had a beautiful willow tree. My dad had given my sister like seedling, whatever you call them. And she had planted it, and she wanted to have me have one too. And I got to be cautious because I'm on the lake. Like, where do I put it without it like blocking other people's views? Yeah, I kind of want a willow tree, but they can be destructive too. So Mimi says, LOL, I'm tall too. How tall are you? I saw there was a video about a lady that was 6'10". It was crazy. Ex-cable man. Sometimes I think it's just the other end service. Ex-cable man. So what do you mean by the other end service? On my side? I'm hoping it's not on my side. Run says most don't pray for patience. Yeah, I don't want to be tested that way. Run says they want it now, like the girl and the blueberries, that Violet chick from Willy Wonka. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, sometimes when we want things quick, the narcissist likes that. That's why they get into relationships so quickly. I just want something. Okay, that'll do. Where they don't always necessarily even know exactly what they want. Patience is a virtue. There's a reason they had that saying. Run says, even though that's not a good example, it is one. Yeah, you're like me. It's like, I don't know, but it's an example. Just take it. You're 5 something. Is that what it said? It's got to scroll up. It's right. I need to get a new phone. It's got that crack right there. So Phantom says, oh no. Mean your three ladies on your shelf aren't those willow trees? Oh, the three ladies. Oh, the willow trees. I see what you mean. Yes, yes, they are. Thank you. And I have, I got a couple more over there. Do you see those over there? The single one is a teacher one, and but yeah, now I know what you mean. Sorry. Get an iPhone 15. Are those a lot better? So Phantom, I'm impressed you knew what those were. Yes, my willow trees. I thought you meant willow tree, and I thought you saw something that looked like it. Um, but iPhone 15. I hear some people love it, iPhone 15, and some don't. I have an Android. That's what I'm used to. Yeah, I don't know. I just need a good camera. I need a good, and I'm very disappointed with the ones that I've gotten. I was told they were like the best, and they're absolutely the worst. The phone I'm on now, I got. Yeah, it's been a while. It was kind of messed up. I went to China. I won a trip to China as like one of the best teachers, and I wanted to get a new phone. But the way it was is you had to have the same phone for 6 months before you could like request service in a different country. So I had to stick with my crummy phone. And then I get back and I was so mad. I wanted to take really good pictures in China. But I had to take my old phone. And then when I get back, I didn't have my glasses and I relied on the service guy telling me what the best phone was. And this is the worst phone I've ever had as far as pictures. And Tim is here. We got Becky. Becky is here. And Run says, hi. Oh, and Calibri. K Flyer is here. So see, I told you guys, we're getting our old group back. Calibri says, hey, Cynthia. Hey, everyone. Good evening from Seattle. Run says, I knew to do 15-year run of work and retire. I don't know if cable is it, but learned a lot of stuff. Yeah. This has a direct line to the cable tower, which is nice. The other one was coming through the trees, so that makes a little bit of a difference. And Mimi, thank you for liking that live, showing that love. The more you guys comment, the more people will join in, the more conversations we can have. It makes it a little bit easier on me too. And thank you for liking the live. So Calibri, how's everything at the complex? Are people leaving you alone? You still enjoying your newer car? I know I'm still tempted. I'm fixing my roof next month, and then I can start thinking about a car. That's the next thing. Run retracted his message. Oh my goodness. And Phantom, thank you for liking the live. Definitely appreciate that. And I'd love to hear what you guys are doing or some of the things that are, kind of struggling with. Mimi, is it just kind of anxiety? This kind of, sometimes when we think about where we're at in life, we can kind of see what our triggers are or what is missing. Sometimes we can give ourselves that dopamine hit or some serotonin, a little bit of peace in our life. Sometimes when we get depressed, we don't want to do certain things, but it's actually healthy to do that because it is building up the chemicals that we need in our brain. Kalibi says, still encountering the narcs in the building. They're just an annoyance. Yeah, sometimes if we're like, whatever, just got to deal with it. Don't necessarily have to interact. The less we interact, they can be predictable too. So that's one nice thing, when you know they're predictable. Squirrels, maybe there's some squirrels messing with my phone. I like flying squirrels. Flying squirrels are pretty cool. But we had some rain here today. It wasn't the prettiest day. We had our big school barbecue we were supposed to have today, like a little celebration before we go back to school, and they had to cancel it because of the weather. But Run says rodents love cable stuff as well as bees. Oh, I bet they do. Oh my goodness. It could be. I don't know. That's the thing, yeah. A lot of destruction from animals and weather. And Phantom, thank you for sharing the live. It says to encourage more viewers to share. Yeah, share this live with people. Get them in here. Kaliwi says still encountering the narcs. Yeah. Run says I almost been stung. I accidentally, the first time I got stung, I did it myself. I squished my arm on it was a wasp, but man, that hurt. And then I've had a couple bee stings, but that one I did to myself. I still remember I was, I don't know, 10, 11, 12 years old. And I went to like lean on the little bar on their swing set and I squished a wasp and that hurt. And then bees, you got to pull that stinger out. It's what wasp can sting more and more, but I just squished it. It was dead. Ron says a rat swarm. Nope. Sorry, can't do it if it's bad, if it's too bad. I know my ex got attacked by bees horribly. They were just going after him. He did something to their nest that was in the ground, I think. It was before I met him. But, there's quite a few people that are allergic to bee stings. So bees, isn't that crazy how just like a little sting, or I've gotten bitten by a brown recluse spider, which just started eating away at my leg. Super itchy too. Phantom says it's nice to see a live that is bringing more people that can just express their feelings and heart. I know a lot of the lives are pretty interesting. They don't necessarily have a purpose, or there's a lot of anger. Or, I talked about that one who, he was using like reverse psychology. He's like, don't give me gifts. You're making the poor people upset. And it was just mind blowing how many people were gifting to him. That's all he did the entire time was don't do it. Get that off of me. Like, I think you guys can pay to put little decorations on the creator, but, yeah, I don't know, but thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like a lot of us don't get to express our feelings. Maybe we don't have the courage to do it, or the right kind of people to listen to us, or, when we can express ourselves, we are social beings. We need to be able to express ourselves. So in this channel, I really want you guys to know that I don't judge people. If you tell me that you're doing a certain something, that's okay. How do we deal with that? What's causing you to do certain things? Because when we're hurt, we tend to self-sabotage or do destructive things. And it's kind of almost like an unspoken cry for help. And Phantom, look at that. We're at 34, 35, 36. Oh my gosh, I love ice cream. Oh, we're at like, oh my gosh. I'll let you know. It just keeps going. Oh my gosh, 51 ice cream cones. Look at that. Look at this smile. 50% of the live goal is completed. Celebrate the moment. Yeah. Definitely. Maybe I should go get some ice cream. 50%. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Phantom. You have been so kind. So kind. And, sometimes this is kind of like, sometimes we don't see the rewards of certain things that we do, because I've been doing this for like a year and a half or 2 years now. Calibri, how long have I been doing this? 2.5. I don't know, between 1.5 and 2.5 years, but I'm starting to see the fruits of my labor and the appreciation. So we don't always know when it's coming, but when you do things that are from your heart, a lot of times that karma comes around. And, I don't expect it. And that's what makes it even more exciting, is to have true appreciation. So Phantom says, yes, definitely well deserved. We'll continue to support your channel. And I appreciate that. And it's really nice too. Like I have some loyal people like Calibri. It's been like 2 years and he's in the channel right now that, these, and Debbie too, if Debbie's still here, and then my friends from Facebook, but like people that I've met on social media that, they come back and they're people I consider friends. It's so nice, people from all over the world. And Run says, I met a lot of narcissists in my job. I don't know why they had this heart. Okay. I did hate blame and some help. Debbie is here. So yes, Debbie, I do appreciate that. And you remember Calibri, But certain jobs have more narcissists. 360, when I get to the full, I'll tell you what, I get to the full goal. We are at 51 out of 100 ice cream cones. And I'm not crazy about my jeans today, but I will do a 360 once we reach that goal. How's that? Is that fair? I think that's fair. And Lloyd is here. But Kalibi says that I learned this afternoon from one of the psychologists here that we have here are the alcoholic covert narcs, are the dangerous type. They use alcohol as their scapegoat, so they behave badly. Yeah, they can use that a lot. And I'm glad you brought that up, because alcohol compounds the problem, because some people can be narcissistic because of alcohol. And then other times it can exacerbate. The narcissist can feel a little bit more relaxed. They can be themselves, but it also gets those triggers more easily exposed, and the impulsivity, things like that. But they can blame it on, look, I didn't mean to do that. I was just drunk, or we were just having fun. I wasn't thinking. So yeah. And Ron says to Calibri, alcohol is just a painkiller. There could be a lot of pain deep, not revealed. True attackers covertly. And covertly means like kind of hidden. You don't really see it. Or they word it in such a way where they don't take accountability. They kind of push off the fault. That's why alcohol destroys so many relationships. They've done studies where like two alcoholics together do seem to do okay, but when one drinks more than the other, it's kind of has to do with that state of mind. And so Debbie says, I do remember Calibri. Hello. And Ron continues, many were attacked. Why is why they get volatile. And it's sad how many people get hurt. And, you know, a lot of people are Phantom said I'm amazing. Send another one. Oh my gosh. Thank you. I appreciate all the love. And Calibri saying hi to Debbie. And look at all the love. And thank you for saying I'm amazing. You're pretty amazing too. My goodness. They don't get to talk to anyone. Who is it that doesn't get to talk to anyone? A lot of narcissists, they can talk to people. They find ways to go. Run says, trying to help someone. Yeah, I had fun time running. They say, don't run. Oh, in summer and spring, I'm getting away. I met a lot of narcissistic people in my job. So are you saying you hated blame and some help? Did you have a hard time? Or were they blaming you from a certain situation? I'm not exactly sure what you mean, but look at all these pop-ups. And Kali saying hi to Debbie. It came in delayed. Okay. Yeah, like I said, we're in the middle of a storm. I figured you meant the service. So yeah, tonight we're going to have to kind of deal with the technicalities of Facebook just kicked out. It's doing something like reloading. But part of that is the weather. Dang it. I don't know how to troubleshoot this. I've gone through, like, upgraded to the best. I have a 20 upload. This should not be so crappy. I don't understand why it's so bad. It just kicked me out of Facebook. And Adam is here, so we'll just go ahead and reload that. I don't know. So I'll have to see the replays, try to troubleshoot. Phantom says, love to give to others to bring joy. And there you go. Oh my gosh. Phantom's giving again. It definitely brings joy out there. 80% of the live goal is completed. Thank you. Oh, and no, we're more than 80% now. Oh my goodness. Send an ice cream cone. Phantom 14. Oh, it looks like we've met our goal. I'm going to have to turn around. I got to do my little 360. I'm going to have to start dressing up for these. I don't like the jeans I'm wearing today, but they're long enough. That's the thing. When you're 6'1", you got to kind of do what you do. Resume the live. Good. It'll let me do that. That's nice. Run says, so basically alcohol is their painkiller for their deep pain they don't speak about. Men are notorious for that. It's also more socially acceptable for guys. So we'll do the little 360. Empty Head Records says, if I saw my ex's eyes turn black, does that mean she's a narcissist? We were about to go to sleep. I closed my eyes for a second. Then I looked back at her and her eyes turned black. Man. There was something going on in her brain. We'll talk about that. It didn't scare me, and we weren't arguing at the time. We were about to go to sleep. Let's talk about that. I promise they just gifted all those wonderful ice cream cones. Phantom says, must say good evening. Have a beautiful evening, love. Your channel, and everyone in the channel, take care and God bless. God bless to you too. And thank you for the gifts. I appreciate that more than you know. And so here's a little 360 with my ugly jeans. There we go. Little 360. Gotta pull my. See how they're high-waisted? I hate high-waisted. But thank you. Sleep well. I appreciate all the gifts. And so this is Empty Head Records. I'm glad you brought that up. There are certain things. I wonder, have you been with her for a long time? Is she a little uncomfortable? Is she having little flashbacks? Is she thinking about something else to where it can affect, like adrenaline will cause your eyes? So if it's a new relationship, maybe she's had some trauma in the past, or maybe she's thinking about something that puts her in like that fight or flight. Since you weren't having an argument, probably has nothing to do with you, but is she on any medications? She had her eyes dilated that day because, and also the lighting. Also, when you're in love, though, this is one thing too. When you're in love, your eyes will do that too. So, yeah, it could just, you closed your eyes for a second and looked back at her and her eyes turned black. Did you see them changing? What happened at that time? You were about to go to sleep, but like right within 5-10 minutes before then, did you guys have a certain experience or conversation? Because there's times it can be rage filled, or there's times it could be love related or fear. So Run says, my ex's eyes were almost jet black, like a rat's eyes. And were they like that all the time? Calibi says, I feel very strange whenever I see these narcs nearby. They have dirty spirits. They give out bad vibes. Sometimes you can feel the vibes, not always. And Phantom, thank you. Good evening to you too. Citalopram is an MFer. Is that a drug? Like a medication? I don't know what that word is. Is that a medication? I don't know what that is. It sounds like a medication. Okay. So that can make a difference too, anxiety. So on an SSRI for anxiety, that can have an effect and so forth, anxiety and so forth. That could be part of it, So the dark browns, they were jet black. An ex-raver. Okay. That can do it too. Yeah, and sometimes too, like some things that we might have done in the past can come around and haunt us or still have effects on our brain. So it's good that, when that happened, that her eyes weren't changing because of a rage. I know, did you get a scary feel? Did it seem, I think you said it didn't seem scary. That's interesting, because you have to remember too, like when, I don't know the lighting situation. Did you just turn off the lights and then her eyes turned black? Because our pupils will start to overtake our iris, the colored part, because it's trying to let in as much light as possible. So if it happened right when you turned off the lights, it was probably her eyes adjusting to the light as well. So that could be a really good reason, is just adjusting to the lights. That's my guess. Did you just turn off the light and looked over right before you were going to bed? So I'm glad it didn't scare you. I'm glad you weren't arguing. So Run says she almost OD'd, so she realized later, I should have run, but I love people, though I could heal her. And you're empathic. So we have to be careful. We can't always fix people, and it puts a lot of burden on us. So, they can bring us down a terrible rabbit hole. So there are times that we have to realize, are we just enabling them now? If we try, no shame in trying to help people, but if they're not going to take our help, it's outside our realm. And, does it come to the point where we're allowing them to be destructive? There's ways to say, look, I really care about you. I want to be here for you, but this is damaging yourself, and it breaks my heart to see you damage yourself. And I want to help you through this. Will you let me? And then, we got to be careful, because some people need the help. Some people are just depressed, but there's other people who have that rage in them. So Ron says, yeah, I claimed I did that to her. She's saying, and I think you're typing that way on purpose. Calibri says, this woman narc must smell rotten. She covers herself with heavy perfume. I almost get lightheaded when I use the elevator where she was. Drained her. Okay. Sometimes depression, or also different cultures, or even age sometimes. As people get older, they can have a different smell because of different hormones and the way they process things. So elderly people might have a different smell, but covering yourself with heavy perfume, she might not notice how much perfume she's putting on, but depression or whatever can cause people to kind of neglect some of their hygiene, and also sometimes culturally. But yeah, that's not good. Yeah, sometimes people overuse perfume for attention, or they overuse it to hide things. So I'm sorry, that can be difficult. Run says, like, she reversed it. Yep, it happens. It can. So, did you stay talking with her, or I'm glad she was able to reverse it. There are times that people can get better. Not everybody who's struggling with something is hopeless. So I've seen a lot of people overcome, addictions or alcoholism or depression, and lead themselves down to a much better life. So, like I said, if you guys are struggling with anything, there are ways to take some control over our lives, or to have faith that it's going to get better. But there's lessons, and it's going to be easier to spot red flags. Also, to be careful with not being hyper vigilant to where we're projecting somebody else's actions onto a new person. So that's why, healing yourself. Run says, nah, I get better by isolation. She gets better by new person, more sex, ha ha ha, more thrill seeking. A lot of times that's how people try to get over a certain relationship, is they do move on to another physical, intimate relationship, but they're missing the connection. They're missing the intimate bond, the true fulfillment. The true fulfillment isn't the physical act. That's temporary. That little dopamine hit or whatever. It can also get addictive. Um, and usually, addictions cause desperation, poor actions, impulsivity. But if you're in like a safe relationship, it causes, that, like the serotonin, and you got the love hormone, and you got a little bit more stability, and you don't need that thrill seeking, to where you're comfortable and you're happy, like a contentment and a safeness. And there are people that are constantly thrill seeking, that they forget to see the value in what they have, jumping from person to person, or, seeing how many, up in that body count. And Luke says, good evening from Michigan. I am from Michigan as well. We had a storm out here tonight. What about you? How was your weather in Michigan? I'm over in West Michigan. So originally from the Detroit area, and I'm trying to smooth out my hair. So I'm going to be brushing it for a while. It gets fluffy when I don't do this, and I've neglected it. So Run says, if I go back, it's real talk, real truth. You say it ain't the same, but she went back to a bunch of them. A lot of times they do that, whether it's a man or a woman, they will go back to previous supply, as we call it. No weather in New Mexico? No weather at all? You're about 30 minutes south of Detroit. I was about 25 minutes north of Detroit, where I grew up. Well, my fellow Detroiter, good to have you here. And I know I still say I'm from Detroit. It's a little outside of Detroit, but good. I'm glad you have some good weather. And how's the construction going out there? It was really bad by like Milford, Livonia, Novi. Last time I was out there, the traffic. Oh yeah. I kept getting lost, and I was stuck for the longest time in Livonia. Kalibi says, also, I've been noticing lately that some neighbors are avoiding these narcs. I think the truth about them is finally being revealed. And that's the thing, just have faith. Eventually it will come out. We don't have to tell people. Somebody's in imminent danger, you might want to tell them. A lot of times people don't believe that, but a lot of times it will show itself. Run says, I did chat, but I made myself clear. One calls me friend, but I made it clear. So yeah, sometimes we can put down, like, I'll say hi to you. You love the West Coast of Michigan. It's different out here, Luke. It's a lot calmer. The travel is better. It's not as crowded. A little bit more low key, not as fast paced. And hello to you. I got to see what. Got to have your name scroll up a little bit so I can read it. It looks like Lavin something. So hello to you. Thank you for liking the live and following. I appreciate that, Luke. Is it Laverne? Oh, Laverne Lansing. Lansing's not that far. Good to have you here. We got some Michiganders. Debbie says, even the narc told me that the word is out and now he needs to be more careful. So, a lot of people like, does the narc even know that they're narcs? Yeah, they do. They, not all. Sometimes they think that they're totally perfect, but others are like, yeah, that's who I am. And they sometimes have a pride in it. Run says some narcs are not narcs at all. They victims, but was targeted. So they act out of character. And that's like the reactive abuse. So when you're acting out of character, but that's where we have to take our own accountability. But the narcissist will like wear you down to that part. And that's where I bring in like the spiritual aspect, because if you think about it, like demonic type things will want to destroy the relationship. And there's like a balance that goes on. So now two people are being toxic and, the narcissist does have feelings. They will get hurt by some of this reactive abuse that we do. It's not an effective way to communicate. It's not effective to make things better. But with a narcissist, it drives you crazy because they love to tear people down. And it doesn't make sense because sometimes they pull these accusations, which, you try to defend yourself. So Run says when it's multiple people, it's a mess. I agree. They bring in more and more people, or you got so many narcs out there. Says some narcs are not narcs. And that's the thing. That's why a lot of times people who have been through narcissistic abuse are like, am I the narcissist? But we have to go through an intention and what started it. But we also have to not excuse it. We have to learn from it, that we have to be stronger. Because as a teacher, I have learned that there are ways to de-escalate, to rebuild relationships, make it better, because kids are kind of narcissistic. There are ways to handle it. But if you're with a grown person, it can be exhausting. I have never slept so much as I have. I used to teach aerobics and ballroom dance, and I had a nationwide cheer stuff to where very physical activities. And I've never been so exhausted as being a teacher. And, even being a parent of a teenager, because they're so needy, and, narcissists need to be the center of attention, and it's exhausting sometimes. Debbie says he's proud of it, but he's a nasty demon, witchcraft and all that stuff. Yeah. And be careful playing with fire. They talk about things coming back tenfold. There will be some repercussions, whether it's exactly tenfold. Numerology is really interesting. There's a lot of numerical stuff in the Bible. And I don't know. What do you guys think about all that kind of stuff? So, I don't know. Run says, yep, takes extreme evaluation of self. Yeah, we have to look back. What triggered me? Why do we stay? Why do we allow somebody to treat us this way? Why didn't we not uphold our boundaries? And we have to be realistic too. Are our boundaries something that we should compromise on? Is it necessarily a need or a want? But there are times where, if you're with somebody who cares about you, they should at least try to honor the things that make you feel comfortable with, and self-evaluation. And that can be hard sometimes, But I know a lot of us, after we've been through narcissistic abuse, we're like, what did I do wrong? How could I have made it better? And all these things are coming from a kind heart. They're not blaming the other person. And, there are times straight up, it's not always our fault. Debbie says, I've had his witchcraft already pretty bad. Thank God he's in my corner. God stops a narc in his tracks. And Vestal Numbre is here. Hello to you. So yeah, the closer you are to God, I remember talking to my brother. I'm like, why does everything work out for you? Why does God give you everything? And he's like, because I'm closer to him. I was like, oh, good point. Because my brother was like a youth pastor and a lot more religious than I was at that time. And I was like, I think you got a point. So yeah, develop that relationship with God. If you want something from him, you got to be there for God too. So hello to you. Nice to have you here. We're opening the topic up to what you guys would like. Run says both my ex-gals were messing around and I was accused because I was good at a sport. Her daughter is a sports player now, which was wild to me. I think it was projection. She was, harassed because of her femininity. Not good. Yeah. And that can, 1 in 8 women are harassed that way. If not more. Like my statistics are from a long time ago. And also, not everybody speaks about it. That happens so much. I wouldn't even doubt it if it's like 90% of women. That's how bad it is. And Run says, I just seem to happen on all the mental issues and get attacked. And so that might be something with you. Are we trying to be like the savior to people? Are we putting ourselves in dangerous situations? Are we a people pleaser? What is causing us to get into these situations or to overlook things, because over time, some of the traumas that we've been through might be for us to be a little more cautious on trusting people right away. So there's lessons in it. It sucks. It's not fair, but we can protect ourselves a little bit better. And Vestal says spirituality makes people less narcissistic. I agree. Because they have, where you're serving other people and, don't covet your neighbor's wife, or spouse, to where you have like a set of rules, so rules are set in place to kind of be equitable to everybody. And as long as they don't utilize a spirituality for control or manipulation, because there is some of that too. But a true good-hearted person, they will be a lot less narcissistic, and they have a different kind of energy about them, happiness, or they still go through like some tough times, but. Vestal says they did brain scans on norms and narcs. There is a significant difference in norms and narcs brain structure. And I'm glad you brought that up, because the area that is responsible for empathy is a lot like shrunk in the narcissist, and also the way that the brain lights up, the prefrontal lobe, and I have some brain scans. If you look on my YouTube channel, A Soul Survivor Cynthia, you will see the videos that show the brain scan, and certain parts of the brain can regenerate and other parts can't. So because they are missing or lessened in the area of empathy, like we're asking them sometimes to pull from nothing, so they can have cognitive empathy, which is where they're like, I guess I would suck, but it's not like the feel. And sometimes when you feel it, it causes a different kind of reaction. So like, if I can say, oh, I guess that would suck that your whole family died. Like, I guess, like, I don't really care about it, but I should say something. But when you feel it, you're like, oh my gosh, like I can't imagine what they're going through. Maybe I can make them something to, bring over some lasagna to let them get a little bit more rest. Like when you feel it, you act upon what you're feeling, because it's almost like lighting a fire under things. Or you see somebody hurt, it makes you want to help them because you feel it. So it's like by helping them, you're helping your own pain. But narcissists, they like to laugh at that when somebody's hurting. So the cognitive empathy is different than the true empathy. And thank you for bringing it up on the different brain scans. And I wish they would do that. They will charge you like $2,000. I had to pay during my custody battle $2,000 for a psychological evaluation, and I believe that's about how much a brain scan is. Just give me a dang brain scan, because it leaves it up to so much. Who knows? People can lie on these personality things, or be in a different mood. Maybe they're depressed, so they're going to be like. You're in the middle of a custody battle, so maybe you're like kind of in a hopeless state. Is that truly who your personality is, or just that time of, your life? So, Ron says rules to help you succeed in a way. Exactly. And also, to have the best family life, but you got to have like two people on board that kind of believe the same. So Vestal says, what? Are you talking about the brain scans? There are so many different materials on the subject. That's true. Ron says lion's mane, folks, if you can have it CoQ10. I know lion's mane. I did my cousin or nephew. I keep calling him cousin. My nephew is working on. He might even be going for his PhD in it now. Definitely in the masters. Bennett Schiller, Schiller. I did a um, video talking with him because he's studying all about like ketamine and things like that. Lion's mane is like the mushrooms, right? Microdosing, things like that. Be really careful. Some people get tempted to take more than you should. It can have some reactions. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. I'd be really careful on that. Some people swear by it. Some people have had bad experiences, and you know, I don't know. Vestals, there are tons of different subjects. Vestal says, but go ahead. Empty Head Records says we had a 7.5 year relationship. I noticed you put it in quotations that ended in 8 months ago. She does smoke weed with her 20 and 30 something year old daughter. She just turned 60 this year, and says it was a little dark with some light coming in through a window. The lights were turned off for maybe 3 or 4 minutes already. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes maybe that just kicked in. The little, I think it's, I wonder if she was thinking something that angered her. As far as her life, does she have certain triggers? Um, That's interesting. There's a reason her eyes went bigger. She was possibly thinking about something, huh? Or anxious about something. Because I did the demonic eyes of the narcissist. And if you look that up, it goes into depth about the scientific explanation. Some people think it's demonic, though. Or maybe it could be a combination of the two. And thank you guys so much for those likes and loves. So just so you guys know, I know some of you get confused. I have Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube open at the same time, but feel free to join in with the conversations. If you see me talking about something and you're like, I don't see it, it's because it's from a different platform. But we got Les joining in. So Run says lion's mane lowers blood sugar and can cause allergic reactions for some. So yeah, be careful. That's definitely know whatever it is you're taking, because if you struggle with your blood sugar and it lowering, it gets you in an altered state. So be careful with that. And that's really interesting, Empty Head. You say, I looked at her and I said, honey, did your eyes just turn black? Then she kind of smiled, made a kind of giggle sound. Then she looked down at the pillow and then she looked back the eyes. Huh. See, that's what makes it so hard is you can't necessarily get into their heads. Maybe she was having like some naughty little thought or something. Um, a giggle. And they were back to normal. She looked down and went back to normal. Gosh, I know there's things we can think of, but unless she tells you what she was thinking, and it was true. But Empty says, I heard some narcs actually watch people. Oh, they do, or they'll video them. It can be creepy, Sometimes there are times when you're like, oh, I love my person. But when they just sit there and watch, sometimes it can be like an evil thought too. It's not like, oh, they're so beautiful or handsome. It can be like all this anger. So, yeah. Yep. They'll just stare at you, which can be uncomfortable, Yeah. They do it more than normal people would do. We'll put it that way. And Colt is here. Saxton, nice to have you, Mr. Colt. That's very interesting. That's got me intrigued. And feel free to like and subscribe. The more people Run, we're already getting more people in here with you guys commenting. It just takes a little bit of time to rebuild the channel. But I am here. I've gone live several times in a row. Debbie says, I hate those mind games he'd give to me. Mind games will drive you crazy. And that's the one thing about narcissists is how they mess with your mind. They it starts being progressively worse. And that's when you're going to start having that reactive abuse and being out of character. And you start, since you're an empathetic person, you're going to start dealing with a lot of guilt. And then you're going to do the ruminating, and these cycles just get worse, and you get into a desperate mode. Can't we just work this out? Because it becomes physically painful, like physically painful. And predictability is important. That's how we function. I'm comfortable going to bed tonight. Like, I'm comfortable knowing that if I lock my door, it's locked, it's stable. I'm comfortable knowing if it gets too cold, I can turn my heat on. I'm comfortable knowing I can adjust. I'm comfortable knowing I have food. It's predictable that if I need food, it's here. Comfortable knowing that my dog is predictable. She's not going to attack me tonight. Predictability is important, but with a narcissist, they're so unpredictable. Are they coming home tonight? Are they not coming home tonight? Do we have a relationship? Do we not? Are you seeing me this Friday? Are you going to cancel? Like back and forth, that it, in the beginning of a relationship, you got the butterflies and the, kind of a little bit of anxiety. Are they going to call me? I really like this person. And it can be exciting because they start following through. But all of a sudden, when they don't follow through, they're destroying the relationship. They're destroying the stability. And, they expect you to be this perfect, wonderful person, but they're destroying the perfect, wonderful person. And then, in all honesty, we start attacking them too sometimes if we engage in that reactive abuse, that it just gets worse. And then you also have triggers. So if you're like, it'll get better, unless you deal with those triggers, it's going to continue the cycle too, because they're going to get hurt as well. So now you got two people. The narcissist had these triggers that come out of nowhere. And I've talked before about that little story about the adoptive mom is like being super wonderful to this new child, giving it a beautiful house and every opportunity and food and clothes and, wanting to, what would you like to do? We can go to the zoo or the beach today, and doing everything. But she had fake nails on. And the long nails triggered the child. She had no idea, unless that child would express, because, she's just a feminine woman with nails. And it freaked the kid out. The kid hated the lady. Wonderful adoptive parent. And it was the nails, just fingernails. She wasn't hurting the child, but that child had trauma from that before. So we talk about the narcissists. They've had a much longer life. Now, sometimes their trauma is not always like abuse. Sometimes their trauma is like compliments, a pretty privilege, or pressure to be the best or the golden child. You were loved because you were the smart one. So now out in reality sets in where it's like, I am not the smartest, or you get that imposter syndrome and all these kind of things that sometimes their trauma is overindulgence. And Deb is here. So I just talked for a little bit. So let me scroll up again. That's interesting. They went back to normal though. And the Calibri says, narcs watch people all the time. The narc neighbors usually time my coming out of my place. And Calibri has said this for 2 years, that they do time it. And they will come out of their apartments. I usually go back to my place once I see them. And that's, but it's kind of sad that we can't just live our own authentic life. If we want to sit outside on the porch and just kind of, enjoy the birds or, smell the fresh air, but like, I've been in places like that where, you have to kind of protect yourself. And, I used to travel for a while, kind of trying to budget traveling as a young person, and I stayed at like a cheap hotel. I checked in late because of the travel. 2:30 in the morning, I get a knock on my door from my neighbor guy. That was like super scary, creepy. Most people know, that you don't just do that, And is that Mimi? Mimi is back. Hi, hi, hi. Are you doing all right? You feeling a little bit better? And definitely self-care. Self-care can help, and connect with some friends. The weekend is here, and the more you can enjoy it, the more you'll be ready for this week coming up. Do you have to go to school tomorrow? And I'm glad you're okay. See, I told you, and I want you to know that positive thinking is important, but sometimes when we need to be real, I'm not okay. I want you to share that. So I will take it as you're okay. Whenever you're not okay, it's okay to tell me that too, though. So Mimi says, yes, I do. I don't want to, though. Are you not liking the instructors, the teachers, or the class? What is it you don't like? Or is it just being anxious about it? Am I single? Yes, I am single. It's boring. Yes. I like that was the one thing I hated about it. Hated about school. Like, I love to learn, but I hate wasted time. I hate wasted time. I'm a teacher now, but I remember growing up going, how can you say the same thing so many different ways? And I get this question a lot. Do I like men in their 20s? I just, depends on who the man is. I don't really go by the ages. It's just the person, just the person. And so yeah, Debbie, I hate mind games too. So let's catch up. I also think it was just a normal going to bed situation. I don't think we had done anything exciting that the night before. So yeah, it could just be the adjusting to the light, or maybe she had some little thought in her head, a little adrenaline, like, ooh, should I do this? And maybe that's where the giggle was from. So it's the energy too behind it. So luckily there is no demonic energy behind it. Because when we get scared, or like I said, when we're in love, our pupils will dilate. And oh my goodness, some comments in the live were filtered to protect the community's experience. What are you guys saying? You won't hurt me. But be kind, be kind. Debbie says, since I have had my awakening, he can't get through to me. The second I notice it, it's gone. I don't miss the fog that he gave me a lot. It causes so much brain damage. So that's good. And you can release yourself from that brain fog. So that is good. And Mimi says, but thank God tomorrow is Friday. Yes, there is some grace in that. You'll make it through. How many hours do you have to go to school? I think you said you're still in high school. So you got to go till what time? We get out. I don't even know. I want to say it's earlier this year. 8 hours. Oh, hopefully they have good lunch. Do you guys get free lunch where you're at in Michigan? And the kids get free lunch. But, just have a positive outlook. You get, at 3:45. That's late. We started I don't know, it's new this year. 7:35 to 2:35, I think. So I'm gonna look at user. Oh my goodness. Being inappropriate. So yeah, the awakening, that's when you're going to start feeling the healing and feeling free. It's really phenomenal how freeing it is. And Vestal says so many subjects. Explain the validity of how there's 9 factors and only needing 5. Yeah, because to be considered or diagnosable as a person with narcissistic personality disorder, you need 5 out of 9. Now you can have all 9. And why do they, are you asking why you only need 5 if there's 9 character things? What about the other diagnosis? So excellent question. There's many different diagnoses. So if you have 5 out of 9, it's one diagnosis. There's also comorbidities where you can have a different diagnosis, but that has nothing to do with the 5 out of 9. So the 5 out of 9, trying to think of a good example to give. Uh, it's kind of like COVID. We'll kind of talk about like COVID. Um, so I could have COVID and just have like chest problems, or I could have COVID and just be exhausted. I don't have to have the chest problems and exhaustion and a fever and a cough and a runny nose and a migraine. You need certain aspects. So there's no like bacterial or viral type of tests that they can do for mental illness. There are brain scans, but they have to do it in a different way. So they have to kind of like with deductive reasoning, since they can't do like a blood test for it, that is their evidence of the possibility. And it can be wrong sometimes too. It can be interpreted different. Or it's on a different spectrum. So they say 5 out of 9 because there was no blood test for COVID. If I was like, I'm coughing, I have a fever, I've been sick for 3 weeks, I can't smell anything, you're like, chances are you have COVID. So it's kind of like that. If I just said I lost my sense of smell, doesn't mean that I have COVID. It could be a sinus infection. So you're going to ask me more questions. So it's kind of more qualifying questions. And if you reach 5, they're like, most likely that's your problem. So with the other mental illnesses out there, it's kind of that overlap where I could have like the chickenpox and COVID at the same time. I know my cousin passed away from COVID. He had influenza A and COVID at the same time. So the same with mental illness. You can, like Amber Heard, she was Johnny Depp's ex-wife. She was histrionic and borderline according to the testing. And it also mimics narcissism because we all are narcissistic in some way. And some of these other mental illnesses seem self-serving. ADHD, autism, it seems like a lack of empathy, but it's sometimes in the way it's expressed. So it gets really difficult and challenging. So let me know if you say, how does cluster A personality affect society? I am going to go more depth. Cluster A on society. And I'll have to double check it. The research that I did as far as like OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, where I saw the thing I was reading was that is one of the highest is obsessive compulsive. I know that cluster A, cluster B will cause society to totally not Nolan is here. Hi, saying hello, and I'm doing good. We're getting deep into the conversation. I've been live for 90 minutes. I was only gonna do like 45 minutes to an hour. So they tell me to take a break, but I'm not going to. Good to have you here. And thank you, Mimi, for liking the live. So how does cluster A affect society? It's not as violent evil, I guess, maybe, but it mental illness will affect by like the millions as far as productivity, divorce rates, and I will get some more. Is there in particular cluster A that you would like to talk about? Kalibri says, question, why is it that narcissism or personality disorders are not taught in school? It would help the students to learn how to deal with society. I agree. And it's a touchy subject. You have to handle it in the right way. So if you have a child who, let's say, is ADHD or autistic, that they don't feel called out or different. Um, and some parents are in denial about certain things. People like to mask certain things, or they don't want to be found out. So if I'm always like fidgeting or something like that, and you're like, oh wait, they said ADHD. Now I think Katie over here has ADHD. But I do think, we try to teach the kindness and things like that. Uh, and you know, we're bringing awareness of a trauma affecting other people. Part of me thinks that we should, but there's also reasons why. Do we necessarily need to teach the actual diagnosis? And what I mean by that is, where, maybe if you're struggling, talk to someone about it, to where we don't want them going, look, if I'm going to talk to somebody, they're going to label me as something. But I taught psychology, sociology, and women's studies at high school in Michigan last year. And we did touch on it. We did touch on the trauma and narcissism, fetal alcohol syndrome, all these different kind of things. But my goodness, you are so limited on what you can say. You are walking a fine line. It is scary to teach those things. Also, how my women's studies, right now we're going through this gender evolution or change to where, what is a woman? I'm teaching women's studies, and like I even had one boy who identified as a girl, and I asked him, what is a woman? And he didn't even know, but he identifies as it. And there's I think they added it in the DSM-5, or there was talk about considering it a mental illness, and just sensitivities on everything. It was really, really difficult. Totally Matt Nolan says, my grandmother in England died too. She died because of old age. Your grandmother, the doll collector. I'm so sorry. How recently did that happen? Oh, you continue saying, my best friend died yesterday from cancer. She was my friend since 3rd grade. She was my age, 58. Oh my goodness. I am so sorry. There's way too many people that are dying from cancer. And your grandmother too, that's hard. Gosh, I am so sorry for that. And everybody processes grief differently, but sometimes when we think about the good times, and to know that a part of them is alive within us. So every time you think about them, just take that as a hug from them. So you're in England right now at her home. Well, I'm glad you're still able to join us. And how are you feeling? How are you feeling with that? And Doug, thank you so much for liking the live. And I am catching up. So I will talk more about that. It's just pain to me. So when you say it's just pain, are you saying, do we need all these little clarifiers, or mental illness is just because of pain, or narcissism is just like emotional pain? Unaddressed manifesting in a different form, unaddressed in your or at a point of interaction. Kind of. So unaddressed manifesting, yeah. Sometimes the way, we're meant to live our true authentic self, and we have to kind of manifest our energies and our direction. Is that kind of what you're talking about? Vestal, I'd like to answer a little bit better for you, and I'll catch up. Ron says it can become that way as preservation. That is an issue. I agree. It's survival mode. And TikTok, I'll catch up. Ron says, I seen abuse try to label others abused when they dealt with the abuse already. Um, hurt people, or abuse other people. It's a big spin cycle, which is bad in some cases, definitely. So Vestal, bipolar and schizophrenia, yes, because those are not personality disorders, such as like borderline. It's more of like a chemical thing. Um, Bipolar, with the manic and depressive episodes, schizophrenia with the paranoia. I told you guys, I know people, kind of coworker friends that have been bipolar, also with schizophrenia. I had a neighbor where you could see, whoa, she completely changed. We sat her daughter and my daughter down to watch TV, and you could see she was changing. She heard things through the TVs and through radios, and it was like a terrified thing. There's a Facebook friend. I'm hoping to do a live chat with her. She agreed to it, but she was not in the right state. She said, I want to, but I'm not ready to. She ended up in the mental institution for a while because she felt like people were trying to her. And I got to kind of watch what I say on social media. But it seemed so real. Also, hearing voices, some of those voices are like demonic. And I do want to, get into it a little bit more. Are some of these demonic possessions, or is it all just brain chemistry? There is something to the brain chemistry, whether people do, the DRU, you know what I'm talking about, or what was it that stimulated my thought on this? But dealing with the brains. So it just feels like bipolar. Do you feel like you're struggling with bipolar? Some people who died, I miss them. You knew them. I need evidence for creation. I look all around. I think even just the human body. So I got to catch up. I'll start reading quicker. So Vestal, do you think you have bipolar? We could talk about that. Ron says, address and dissect to heal will keep your mind somewhat stable, is what I do, but I'm still jacked. Yeah, sometimes just we got to learn, we got to understand it, we got to address it. Addressing it is important, and that helps you heal. And it takes time. So it sounds like you went through something traumatic. You're missing people that died, and you need evidence for creation. I see so much evidence. Vestal says because someone else needs it. And what do you mean someone else needs the evidence? What, somebody else needs what? So Run says I fight it, but no, it's somewhat manufactured by others. That's true. Some of our like responses, our traumas, can be stimulated by these thoughts in our mind. So we have to take control over our thoughts. And Vestal says bipolar comes with personality disorder. Um, uh, bipolar is different in the sense that it can be managed with medication. So there is a little bit of a difference. Vestal says, I didn't get the schizoaffective until I got older. A lot of times it does. Can I ask how old? Was it in men get it earlier and women get it a little bit later, but it's like 17 to 25 or so for men, usually like for schizophrenia. And then women are like 22 to 32 or somewhere in there, 24 to 30. But it's like the stressors. Once you get to a certain point, you go over and you can't come back. I hide it. It's part of my personality. It didn't happen until you got older. So online. What do you mean online? As far as hiding it? And I'm glad you're open to talk about it. That helps us learn about you. You learn about yourself. And so totally not Nolan. I bebop. Cecilia, I used to work with Cecilia. How are you doing? Good to have you here. My heart goes out to you. Good to see you popping in. And so totally not Nolan. I might give all of her dolls to her great aunt, her sister. She lives in England. That'd be great to connect and to share that. Uh, you know, sometimes just holding something can help us connect. So I think that would be beautiful. Maybe you can spend some time with her too. And how do you affect society? Oh, I would love to hear your story. So Ron says, thought, though. Okay. Vestal, you affect society. Tell me more about that. You were 30 years old, and was there something that happened during that period of time in your life that kind of stimulated the outcome of it? Because even with my channel deals mostly with narcissism, but it can give you an idea. Is like when things are going along good, you don't always see the underlying pain because things are going good. Why is the pain going to seep out? But when it gets triggered, that's when those things, or when something doesn't go right, or they feel entitled. But I'd love to hear how you feel that you affect society. And do you have a support group? Sometimes the unknown can kind of scare people. Are we educating people? Hopefully our family members are learning. And are you in therapy for it, or do they give you any medication? Tamla, I hope I'm saying that right. Tamla Tanet Moore is the most high and unstoppable too. You are Aboriginal people of Turtle Island. Rest in peace. Show no mercy. Owl. Who is Tamla Tanet? Vestal says, do you remember the periodic table? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And Big Elephant is here. So totally not knowing. That would be nice. So what's new with you, Cecilia? I'm here I finally got a lake house. I'm up in Michigan. You don't engage. Okay. You don't engage with the things on the periodic table. You don't engage with people. Because sometimes, people isolate themselves. Run says, sorry, I get worked up about this one. I see people control situations with the mind, and other times they can't. Almost predicting it. Vestal says, yes, social isolation in school and awful group home. Do you feel safer now by self-isolating? Sometimes it's weird where if you went through that, it's traumatic that you were isolated, but sometimes that's the comfort. And, we talk about the different toxicities in relationships. Like, why would they rather stir up problems? Because that's their comfort level. I take up living space and don't have a job. So, and I hope you don't feel like you're a burden or just taking up space. Each and every one of us can make a difference in somebody else's life, to have a purpose. So I'm glad you're opening up about this. Sometimes that can affect our self-esteem too. Run says, I think too many people around. Oh, did you just take it away? So Cecilia. Oh, Vestal. I am talking to Cecilia. She's on my Facebook page. I have Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube open right now. So you don't engage with people. Okay, so Cecilia is on the Facebook platform right now. So sorry if there was any confusion. Are you uncomfortable engaging with people? Do you just not trust people? People are irritating, annoying, rude, or just like a nuisance? And Grant is here. So, um, sometimes we kind of feel a little bit broken down. Um, I'm curious to know why you don't engage. Ron says it sounds like too many people I know. The feeling it's like hearing millions of thoughts of things of hold on, it flipped up. It sounds like to many people I know the feeling. It's like hearing millions of thoughts of others. I had this happen a few times in my life. Um, and sometimes, yeah, when you start hearing those things. Calibri says, narcs, I learned, love to show up in places where we are to get us triggered or just to get a reaction. These are the crazy critters. There you go, crazy critters. That's a little code name. But sometimes it's they're not always purposely trying to trigger you. Sometimes they are. Sometimes they are, but sometimes they're just trying to get their need filled. And it's kind of like, I don't know where this is going to go, but I want something from you. And it gets us triggered. So their intent is not always to trigger. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But it's kind of predictable how we're going to react a lot of times. So Vestal is saying, Cecilia, what is up? I love that. Thank you for including her. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Bueno, ¿y tú? Mucho gusto. El gusto es mío. So group home life. You do social media mainly. Are you just interacting on social media? Would you ever like to do a podcast with me? I'd love to bring you on and like kind of do like a little chit chat and get to know your situation a little bit better. If not, that's fine too. But bien, bueno. So social media sometimes is helpful, but it also can keep us isolated to where it's like a little safe zone to where we forget to interact with people. So you have a schizoaffective. Do you have any like autism or anything like that too? I am addicted to social media. Yeah, and those are those dopamine hits. And the thing is they do a lot of studies on that it becomes and you use the word addicted. It is an addiction, and it's going to cause this cycle to where you're never going to feel fulfilled, because just like DRU, what's music, though. Music can be uplifting. Type of music, the type of words in the music can either lift us up or make us angry or agitated. There's also, the ASMR type stuff or the different sound waves, the beta waves, all those kind of things. Kalibi says, what if question? What if I tell the narc to his face, why are you following me? And I'm to the point of telling him we have nothing in common. Just let me be. Depends on the person. Sometimes they can get quite angry. If they feel you're just friends, when we say why, it gets confrontational. So does it matter why? You can just say, I'd really appreciate it if you don't follow me. Just say, I'm more to myself. I would prefer not to interact. It makes me uncomfortable. So if you can do it that way, as opposed to why, that puts the person on the defense. So if you could just say, look, I wish you a great day. I appreciate a little bit more personal space. If you can do it in such a way to where they don't feel attacked, they don't feel like you're not good enough for me, I don't want to be your friend. If you do it in the right way, they're not going to be as aggressive back. And they might have a little hopefully a little respect or be like, well, screw him. But there's effective and ineffective ways. So what kind of music? Discord. You never engage. Never engage. Kalibi says, if somebody's bothering you, Vestal says never engage. Sometimes there are times, where we do have to address things. Vestal says I have schizoid personality disorder and an avoidant personality. And autistic. I picked up on the autism. So yeah, a lot of what you're going to want to do is routine, kind of by yourself, and like repetitive, and being avoidant. You don't like confrontation. You don't like the deep exposure of who you are. You're like, I just want to live life. Just leave me alone. Just let me do my thing. But with your schizoid, what kind of struggles do you have with that? So when you say the D word, are you saying a lot of medications or like recreational? It makes you less talkative. That's the other thing too. There are certain medications. Do you feel better on your medications? Do you tell your therapist or psychologist that, it's causing me not to talk to people? Empty. What's up? Empty head. What's up? So Vestal, see, you do like to interact. You are making friends. Empty says, I forgot to mention that supposedly she knows black magic, but didn't mess with it too much. And she claimed she had witches in her family bloodline. And I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt if she at least tries to dabble in it, find a little shortcuts into controlling people. Whether it works or not, who knows? What do you guys feel about that? Do you think that black magic really works? But yeah, as far as the medications, they can affect personality. That's why people sometimes take them to control the brain waves, and our brain waves make up our personality. Ron says forced to store or certain places. I record sometimes now. Hold on. Are you saying record what they're doing? So Vestal, you're an extrovert, but also interesting. Are you really an extrovert? You're doing great here. Empty says, not much, Vestal. Vestal says, are you asking who really likes social media and is kind of addicted to it? Run says, grocery market store. Vestal, hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon, fluorine, neon. Interesting, but lithium, yeah, that's the schizo part. You read a lot, so that's good. Run says, yeah, I record dash cam or other media. Vestal says, I don't believe me. I am not a bother. Witches sounds like something of religious. And that's the thing, is some people think it could be the religious part. And I think, Vestal, are you kind of agnostic or atheist, or are you religious in some way? Because I know I believe it was you that said you need proof of that. So I'm feeling that there's something you're searching for before you would believe that. What do I think? As far as witches, I think there's something out there. I think there's something out there. I don't know necessarily the term witch, but I do think there are entities. I don't think they're dead people. I think it might be like the fallen angels, things like that. Run says, keep me sort of safe, and then they keep more distance if they are up to no good. Some still come around because they've known me from the past. I'm glad you brought that up. People will keep distance if they're doing you wrong. So sometimes they're like, why did they ghost me? A lot of times they're doing you wrong. And they just don't want to have to talk about it and do accountability. And, so sometimes it's predictable. Why is my husband avoiding me? Or something like that. It's like they're probably doing you wrong. Not always. They could be depressed about something or stressed about work. And then also patterns are really important. If something happens one time, it doesn't mean somebody has, a problem with something. Wilkie is here. And guys, feel free to tell me what you would like to talk about. It's not scrolling up. Why isn't it scrolling up? So let me catch up. Vestal says, yes, I'm an extrovert, but I have a few personality disorders that have gone undiagnosed. Why does Sayana Nasatyas Mitra? Sayana I don't know what that means. Is that Latin? And you are religious. That's good. So angels. Okay. If you've got, so the other stuff that you're on medication for was diagnosed, what's your guess on why they've been undiagnosed? Do you think it was failure on the psychologist's part, or did you just not tell them about certain things? And sometimes, a lot of the personality disorders, people do mask, they do hide, and they don't share. So it's really hard to diagnose. Vestal says, why does the same people, why though do some people continue in wrongdoing? Sometimes it's for control. Sometimes it's for that dopamine hit. Sometimes it's for revenge. Run says, I want to be happy and live. I experienced enough pain, which most of them didn't know. And Run says, yep, it's fear. Some want money out of you. So Vestal says, how about chemistry, Barnes and Nobles? That's what I was saying, the bookshop. How about chemistry from the Barnes and Noble? Is that what you like to read? So yeah, Barnes and Noble is a bookshop. But I'm interested in why it was undiagnosed. Hi, Harold. Feel free to like and share. They wonder what's up. So, that's one of the flaws in trying to find out, like with the personality disorders, so many go undiagnosed because there's overlapping. Also, people have to be honest on those personality inventories, that if you don't answer honestly, or even their perception, if it says, maybe I treat people poorly, can I admit to that? No. Or they deserved it. So some of their perceptions are going to sway it anyways. And they do have some safeguards in those where they try to see if you're over exaggerating, to where they'll throw out those kind of answers where it feels a little too padded. But so Vestal's asking, what do they wonder? What's up? Run says, only God and wanting to live. Vestal says it was subconscious. So Vestal wants to know uh, what they're wondering. What's up? See, oh, Vestal's wondering what's up. See, there you go. So, Vestal, how would you say when you interact with people, is it usually a good outcome or a bad outcome? Ron says they don't answer properly. I did 3 tests and was all good. That's the thing. They're like thousands of dollars, and unless I don't know, it's like a 1 day test, and you know, just like the SAT, like does that necessarily prove how smart you are? It only measures a certain amount, doesn't take into account certain things. Like if you had a bad day, your SAT, we just had it with, they're called WIDA scores. And some of our kids had poorer, like English as a second language tests the year later because of some trauma that they went through. Doesn't mean they're not as smart. It just means that their brain was like preoccupied with certain things. So Vestal says it's the light on my screen that keeps me going. And so I teach English as a second language, so it's their comprehension on the verbal, the listening, the writing, and the reading. But my point of that is a 1 day test doesn't always accurately evaluate something, and the same can happen with personality disorders. It depends, is that person agitated, are they feeling like loving and happy, and then also if it's somebody like, usually the people that have personality disorders don't realize the things that they're doing wrong, and that's kind of a part of it. So Vestal says, Run, do you believe in mathematics? Run says, I was dumb, 94 IQ. Then I tested at 139 when I was older. Usually people don't go up very much. They can go up a little bit, but throughout their life, it's usually pretty set in stone. Interesting. Vestal says, neutral. You're neutral on if you believe in mathematics. Even I know they were my friends. And Sean is here. Sean, that's a cool last name. I like your last name. Do you like your last name? And oh my gosh, my batteries are running low. I might have to get going pretty soon. But let me see if I can't see. So we have, and Ba, it's good to have you here. There we go. Let's see if I can save it. So we're doing good. We got our daily ranking up. Nope, I'm on low battery, guys. I'm not going to have much more time for this. Ron says, I jumped, so I felt they lied to me. I don't trust stuff much since, and I'm learning. And that's the thing, the narcissist, things like that. Yeah, one just faded out. Is that it causes almost like a little paranoia or inability to. I seem laid back. I'm pretty laid back. I'm pretty chill. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, just I'm just me, but you're welcome, man. So what about you? Are you pretty laid back? I just like helping people, and we're here discussing different things. And I'm the type of person, I really don't judge people. I'm here to help people. We're going to have people of all different walks of life, and there's a lot of struggles, but trying to understand people is what I'm about. Not to judge them, but to understand them. Vestal says I have a lower IQ. And that's okay. Do you know what your IQ is? You don't have to share if you don't want to. Run says my spelling doesn't reflect me, as I was told. And that's okay. You know what's interesting is my dad was so brilliant, but he was not very good at spelling. Excellent in physics and math and all that stuff. Good at English, but so he could talk really well. He could write really well, but his spelling was not good. I'm the opposite. My spelling is usually really, really good. And it's just interesting. A lot of times engineers or mathematical people, struggle with spelling. And it's probably because they're more like logical. And the way we spell things in English is not very logical. So I think that's part of it. And it's good to have different brains. Like we needed my dad's mathematical brain, and then I'm in a different realm of knowledge. So Vestal says, what music? Charge. Debbie says, I think when you are comfortable with yourself, you become laid back. I think so too. I think that's a really good point. And Run says 150 IQ is supposed to be high and above. It is. Run says, nah, I took math person fishing. He was lost. I love it. Vestal says EQ is harder to test for thought. Is that what you're saying? Run says I pulled 8 pound, 7 ounces. Is that what you're saying? Talking about your fish. So TikTok, what's going up with you guys? Vestal says we judge people when it comes to logic. People like you or people in general? Mathematical people. And I think there's something too, like with the masculine and feminine energy. Men are more logical, women are more emotional. And I think that's important. It's okay for us to be different. There's reasons. And I think there's a change in the masculine and feminine stuff, vibrations, energies, and I think we're kind of all becoming a little bit, they talk about equality. I like being a woman. I do know that I do have some differences. I'm a strong woman, but I'm not as strong as like a lot of men. I also don't want to do some of this physical labor that they do. So I feel blessed that they are stronger. Little things like that, to where there's good in differences. We don't all have to be the same. Vestal says, Dodge, Toyota. Is that the logic? And Skull Leader is here. We are popular live. I appreciate you guys. Ron says it's not always the intelligence. We think he struggled with salmon fishing. I was determined to figure it out. He also now got it. I think you're ... So yeah, we got Facebook faded out. Facebook died. I'm still trying to save my battery. I got stuff plugged in. And I'm starting to get dizzy reading, though. Ron says it's not always, and I get a pop-up. So yeah, intelligence too. We can be smart in one thing and not in the other. Ron says I like helping, and that's that empathetic side of you. It is good to help people. We also have to realize, there are certain limitations. Like, are we helping too much? Are we giving what we can give, or are we giving above and beyond? But I'll tell you what, guys, it is almost 1 o'clock in the morning, and I struggled today. I had to take today off, so I don't want to get too worn out. So I'm going to give you guys a big old hug. Feel free to like and subscribe or follow, but I'm going to sign off and get some sleep so I can go back live with you guys tomorrow. Please hit that like button, share, and if you guys... Law involves logic. Yeah, I went to law school. It was interesting. They're like, I want you guys to look around the room. If you guys are in a relationship, you're not going to be in a relationship later because it changes the way you see things. So Debbie, thank you so much for joining me. And I'm glad your friend, your family is home. And I'll be continuing to say some prayers. Happy birthday to sweet Liam. And Schnarfers, thank you for the like. And sorry, I'm logging off, Schnarfers. I love that name. I will be on tomorrow night. So I need to get some sleep so I don't get sick. Lost, thank you for liking and following. You guys are so great. You make it hard to log off. But I will see you in the live stream tomorrow. Have a good night, guys. And there you go. Only Jesus. Have a good night. And TikTok, you guys are awesome. My goodness, some of you just joined in.